I made a video a couple of days ago that I was editing, and it was about outgrowing your friends. As I was editing it, I realized just how negative this term is, this term of outgrowing somebody, because it makes it seem as though you are innately, or maybe through some change in your life, above another person in some way. And it almost seems like you're discarding people from your life because you outgrow them. And it's somehow better than the ones of your friends. And it made me think a lot about if we should outgrow our friends. Is that the goal? To outgrow them? Or is it simply that outgrowing somebody is simply just a change? And change in frequency, a change in values, a change in perspective. I think we ought to reframe this perspective, the sense of outgrowing somebody, because you're never ever really above another person. How could you tell? How could you compare yourself to another person's experience and say to yourself that you're better than them? We ought to reframe this thinking, this outgrowing our friends, as simply just changing. We change as human beings, as life goes on. And it's okay to change our friends. It's okay if we don't align with people anymore to let them go. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are better or that they are better necessarily. There is no outgrowing. There isn't one person going up while the other person stays the same. It's simply two individual people that cross together and then separate equally on their own sides. If throughout the years you realize that you no longer align with certain people in your life, it's okay to let them go. It's okay to say that you guys don't align anymore. And it's okay to let them go with compassion and kindness. And it's okay if somebody else wants to let you go as well as a friend. Maybe you guys don't have the same core values anymore. Maybe you guys have changed. Maybe you guys have realized something about one another that made you realize that you don't want them in your life anymore. Or maybe, like me, you've known somebody for so long that you fall into this fallacy that you've spent so much time with this person. How could you let them go? And it's less so about outgrowing people and more about letting people go. The people that don't align with you anymore, let them go. The people that you don't agree with anymore, let them go. I had a friend from since I was 7 years old, and we've been friends for such a long time. And one of the things that made me realize that we are no longer compatible anymore is that she had certain behaviors that I would not accept from anybody new that I would meet. She was always very passive aggressive, and I just dealt with it because I've known her for so long. And that was my mistake. I should have ended it a long time ago, but I didn't. Because I had known her for so long. And that's the mistake. It's not about outgrowing another person. It's not about one being better than the other. It's about being a human being and coming to realizations as you grow, as you meet other people, as you realize what it is that you really want. And it's the same thing with people that you love. They might not be on the same wavelength as you, they may not be on the same vibrations as you, but you cannot control that. You cannot control how somebody feels. If somebody changes, you cannot. And even the thought of you wanting to better somebody else comes from a place of ego because you think you know better than that person. But at the end of the day, how do we know that we know better? Only because it works for us, not because it works for somebody else. If you find yourself in situations where you're friends with somebody for a really long time and you realize that after a while you get that heaviness in your chest and a heaviness on your shoulders, heaviness when they text you, you're always on your toes, you're always anxious, it's probably best to let them go. Let them go with love, with compassion, with kindness. And if somebody lets you go too, if somebody says that they don't want to be friends with you anymore, but what's wonderful about relationships, about friendships, about loving somebody or loving the time that you spent together is letting them go, even when they don't want you anymore, even when they don't want you in their lives anymore. And that's okay. It's okay to let people go. It's okay to let people live their lives. It's okay if somebody doesn't align with you anymore. It's okay for you to not align with somebody anymore, even if you've known them for a long time. That doesn't mean you outgrow them. It just means you guys are going in different directions. And if you're somebody who changes, who likes to explore life, experience life, learn new things, it's going to be a common thing that happens in your life. You feel as though you outgrow people when in fact it's just your perspective changing. And that's it. That's all there is to it. In the end, should you outgrow your friends? You don't have to. But if you're on the goal to figuring out what it is you want in your life, the people you surround yourself with, it's probably a good place to start. Because that tells you who you are, in a way, in a limited way. Anyways, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.